All right, welcome back to dyno session number 3. I am not quite sure how you can have so much success and failure all at the same time, but Bob has found a way to do that. So I'll give you a little side note or a little preview of what you're going to see in the video. I have a whole bunch of pulls. Some got on the video, some didn't. I don't know if the video is good or not, but anyways, we'll get to that. So Bob had some problems. Bob still has low oil pressure problems. So going into this dyno session, I had already made up my mind that if Bob came up with low oil pressure during these dyno pulls, that we were going to pull the motor out, no matter what. Now, my theory on the low oil pressure problem is the cam retainer plate is probably leaking, and or the plate in the back of the block is probably leaking internally. So you're not seeing any oil come out of it, but oil pressure is bleeding off. Now, I think that there's probably a secondary problem there in regards to the oil pressure. If you listen to some of these videos, Bob struggles to pull RPM. He does not like to go above 7,200. And according to the cam guy, this thing should be seeing 8,000 plus, and I agree, it should. But he labors really bad and doesn't want to pull. So what I think is happening is that oil pressure leak that is internal, wherever it may be coming from, is causing the lifters to lose hydraulic pressure and therefore, you know, lift and duration and all that neat stuff. So we're going to pull the engine out of Bob, probably in the next couple of videos, and we're going to investigate things. Part 2 of that problem is that Bob has also lifted the heads and knocked out the head gaskets. Not bad, like as in if you start Bob right now, it runs fine. You can see he's over here in the background just chilling. But anyways, it still runs fine, but if you're watching the videos, you'll see some water come out of the radiator cap or the overflow tube because there's no catch can on it right now. The weird thing is that in the logs, there's no spikes in coolant pressure or nothing like that. And according to the entire internet, minus about 3 people, chromatic head gaskets are the worst thing you could possibly do for an LS. So lesson learned there, we're going to switch to some Athena style gaskets when he goes back together. Also going to change the cam, the valve springs, and the push rods. The cam mainly because I want something that's purpose built for this setup, and push rods going from 5/16 to 3/8, and valve springs we're going to a heavier spring so it can pull RPMs to eliminate those things and make sure they're not problems. So let's get into watching the video, check out some dyno pulls, and you'll see what's going on. All right, so you saw a couple of pulls there. They are in order from lowest power to highest power. Now the long pulls and the lower RPM pulls are on wastegate spring or low boost, so Bob is going to sound lethargic and lazy. Now the silver lining to all of this is on the first or the second dyno section, actually, Bob made 1078 hovering around 31 pounds. We had a boost control problem. We didn't push it any further. We go back to the dyno this week and got the boost control ironed out for the most part. Bob makes 1,009 horsepower, but on 25 or so pounds of boost, maybe 25 and a half, something like that. So we were well on our way to making more power with less boost, simply by cleaning the tune up further and further and further. So he's coming around. Got to get this head gasket thing and this oil pressure thing behind us, but I think we're going to be even better off when we get the engine apart and checked out. All right, after watching a few of those clips, you probably noticed a few things. There's some sparks coming out from under the car if you watch close, around the driver's side, front, lower portion of the engine. I think the alternator has also left the building, so we'll have to put one of our spares on there. No biggie there. And if you've really been paying attention, you saw the water spray on actually a couple of pulls around the passenger side front of the cylinder head where the thermostat housing is. And you know, the obvious part is that it's pressurizing the cooling system a little further than we want it to. Some of that is probably normal-ish in that the cooling system is going to build pressure anyways. There's no expansion tank on it, so it's really sensitive to any kind of pressure in the cooling system. But I think we're going to remedy all that stuff when we put him back together. All right, thanks everybody for stopping by and checking it out. I appreciate it. This trying to get Bob running correctly and all that good stuff before we go racing has been somewhat of a comedy of errors. I think we're headed in the right direction finally. Now that we got this this oil pressure problem solidified and we know that there's a problem, even changing oil pumps to a high volume pump and all that stuff didn't really do anything. So we know that there's a leak inside and we're going to check it out. So anyways, next video is going to be on another project we got here in the garage, and then after that we're going to get Bob apart and check him out. So thanks for stopping by, checking it out. We will see you guys in the next one.